This podcast is rated TV PG for fantasy violence and language. Welcome back to Star Wars Birth of the Republic tabletop role-playing game. Episode 3. I'm Kirk and I will be your storyteller.
I am Andrew. I play Hakru, the Zabrak Scout.
I'm Eric. I'm playing Lashara, the Bothan Noble.
I'm Greg. I'm playing Dodd, the Human Scoundrel.
Yeah, I'm Seth, playing Jad Markeda, the Rhodian Scoundrel.
This is Mary, and I will be playing Rura, the Tagorian Scout.
All right, welcome to another episode of Star Wars Birth of the Republic. Last time, the group landed on the planet Daghi and delivered some foodstuffs that were much needed. And in the middle of the celebration, there was a mercenary strong arm that showed up in the town, basically threatening them for not paying their protection money, and got into a verbal altercation with Dodd, who was sitting around the campfire, and then a gunfight ensued, and the person basically took off running after he saw two people who were shooting back at him, because he's met zero resistance from this little mining town since they've been started harassing it. So he got on a speeder and made it back to the nearest city of Garia, and the parts had to still be acquired in Garia, so Hakru, who was in the ship the whole time and wasn't seen, decided to take a speeder that you guys fixed up and drove into town and got the parts you all needed. Plus, I think, another speeder bike and a small cart, anti-grav cart. So you guys made it back to the town. Ship got fixed up, and the people of the city decided to flee for a couple days until you guys got back, just in case. So they went out to the wilderness basically to camp. There's about 50 of them or so. And you guys took off after making some tentative plans to meet up with a person who was going to buy the Tor, the mineral Tor, from you guys. The deal was to sell the Tor, take half for yourself. The other half was to be used to buy more foodstuffs. And you guys are also putting together some sort of hydroponic indoor gardens for these people, so that way food is not going to be their constant cycle of trying to sell off Tor just to eat. And I believe the guy decided to, or you guys talked him into finding some weapons for you, because the plan was going to be to ambush the gangster thugs when they come back to town to basically collect the fee, or the money. So we left off with you guys en route, and basically we're going to open back up with you guys are in hyperspace. And you've got, I think it was a day travel there, and then it was supposed to be a day travel to the foodstuffs, and then was it a day back or 2 days back? I'm not certain, but something like that. But everyone should be okay for at least 6 to 7 days, I believe, before the thugs get some sort of reinforcement or organize enough to come to the town and cause trouble. Did I leave anything out?
I don't think so.
I got shot.
You got shot, but you also shot
Lato
him.
came.
Yep.
LADO.
It's late. It's Lato. Yeah.
Oh, Lato. Okay. Lato had also come with me on that run, and I feel it's very important.
Oh, that's right. We've got somebody with us, right?
Yes.
Yes, I have an old woman.
Yes. There's an old woman that was. You were
Way to
told.
collect old women, Hakru. Way to do it. I'll start my collection next week.
The mechanic in Garia, his mother still lives in the town, and he asked for you guys to take her off planet to keep her safe, just in case, because she's old, can't walk as fast, that sort of thing. So she's on the ship as well.
And her name is Lena.
Yes. Yep. So hyperspace, stars streaking by. You're in that sort of tunnel of light. And it's going to take a while to get there. Is there anything in the meantime you guys wanted to do? How long did it take you to fix up the Wookiee bowcaster? Was it like an hour or so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
And I think what we're going to do with the ruling on that is if you use a force point, you can bump up that roll, the raw roll. But if you roll a 1, it's always a miss. If you roll a 20, it's always a hit no matter what. So you can keep it from jamming by spending a force point. But if you roll a 1, it's going to explode no matter what. I was kind of looking through the rules, and that's one of their fast and furious rules is like if you roll a 1, it's a miss, skill check fails, that sort of stuff. So
I did find the upgraded version of that, which is an actual feat that I can take later. But right now, this is
nice.
This is just like it's like practicing to have earned that feat.
Okay.
That's basically what's going on.
And I upgraded a bunch of stuff on the wiki, so there's now a lot of rules like mechanics, starship combat, character combat, that sort of stuff. I think it's all in bold, where the regular wiki stuff, planet names and people and stuff like that's all in regular type. So I also upgraded your characters to have your feats and stuff spelled out on the Obsidian Portal character page, and we still need a feat from Seth because he's been running with 1 down, basically.
Oh, have I?
Yeah.
I thought I only got 1.
No, you get 1 for your scoundrel, but being at first level, you also everyone gets another feat.
Okay. I knew about the scoundrel one. I didn't realize about the other one. Okay.
So those two advancement charts have to be looked at side by side. So every time you advance Scoundrel, you're advancing 1 level in that.
Okay.
And that way, if you take a level in Jedi, you're still taking 3rd level in that basic character level.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I was trying to plan out some stuff for my character since we had the time off, and I've realized how little I actually have planned for this character. Not that I'm trying to get him to die or anything. I'm just trying to actively leave stuff as open as possible.
Yeah.
But at the same point in time, one thing I've learned reading through this system is no, you have to have a plan.
It helps. It's like it's like 3.5 D&D. It helps to have a path that you're going to start building feats on and that sort of thing.
Right. And so I was looking at it's like, okay, well, realistically, I'm going to end up in one of these 4 prestige classes.
Right.
Okay, so what do I have to do to end up in these?
Right.
And I just started planning accordingly with that.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good idea to have a general idea of which direction your character could go, I guess.
Yep, I've got a great plan until level 7, and then I don't fucking know because that's when 3 of the prestige classes kick in, and the 4th one kicks in at level 8.
Oh, that's odd. Usually they're all kind of do the 7.
Yeah, one of them requires a base attack bonus minimum to get into, and I won't hit it until level 8 because I am going to multi-class at some point.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
So on this trip, Lashara, I had noted here, that Lashara wanted to talk to Lena to see if she could find out more information about the Tatari.
Okay. All right. You guys have just gotten on the ship and taken off hyperspace. She has brought some foodstuffs in, so she's kind of putting them away in the communal galley, and that's where you can find her. And she's just humming to herself and putting things away and organizing a little bit, not a whole lot, but...
Okay. So Lashara is going to go up and say, Lena, we're new to Daghi, and you've been there for a while. Can you tell me anything about the Tatari, these pirates or raiders that have been, repressing your people?
They just showed up a couple cycles ago. The planet had problems before with just raiders or people coming in kind of forcing to get some of the Tor, but it really wasn't worth a whole lot until recently. And it seems like that's when the Tatari moved in, but they were some of the raiders or the tough people were now calling themselves the Tatari. So she doesn't know if they joined up or if they formed the Tatari. She's not certain. But that's when they started really trying to overtake Garia, and it took them about 6 months to a year, and basically they got one of their own sort of elected as overseer or mayor or however that works. And the town taxes sort of got tied into everything else commerce-wise. So they pay, but it's more like a tax. And then they started sort of coming to us. We weren't as big of a producer, but they started basically threatening us and asking for protection money and that sort of thing, and then started raiding some of our shipments that were going off planet, basically taking them and then reselling them. And that's what happened recently with the food, because we were having food brought in, trading basically, and that sort of dried up pretty fast. And that's when we decided to contact you guys.
Have they ever hurt anyone in your village, or are they leaving people well enough alone and just threatening?
It's a lot of threatening. She hasn't noticed anything, but we have family members that live in Garia, so it seems like they know a lot of the people from here because we're not a big town, and it's easy to sort of track our relatives down. So there is that threat that, if we don't pay up, my son's business may, have an issue or have to pay somehow, or it's just always the threat, the hanging sword, basically.
Is there anyone that has connections off-world that could potentially help? The New Republic or some other force?
We're kind of a small fry. I mean, there's, with Garia included that we know of, I mean, that's only like 50,000 people at the most. So we're kind of a small fry in the eyes of the Republic or anything like that. So they don't really, we have no representation. We have no senator or anything like that. And like I said, Tor wasn't really a big commodity until just recently. So we hadn't been on anyone's radar for assistance or making friends or anything like that. So, and as you can see, the town that I live in, we don't even have most amenities that they do in Garia. It's all kind of, low key, low tech, no tech, that sort of thing.
Wow, I'm so sorry.
It is what it is. Hopefully you guys will be able to help us out to at least get out from underneath them, or at least leave us alone. We just need to be able to, I guess, sell our mineral so that we can survive.
All right. Well, thank you for for telling me what you can. I'm worried about the people that we've met, and they've been kind to us. So maybe we can
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like the Tatari have a lot of people, or there's not a lot of people interested in the planet itself. So we've seen maybe 6 or 7 people total that have come to the town at different times. It doesn't seem like, 200 or 300 people. It's usually a small number. Because we haven't been able to fight back. I mean, they've got blasters and coming with droids and speeders and stuff, and we really can't compete with that. So,
Okay. Well, you're safe for now, and hopefully we can bring some equipment back to your people that will help in the long run. Just have to keep it secret from the Tatari.
okay. Yeah, I don't know if they would even be interested in us if we didn't, if Tor wasn't sort of rising in popularity or in prices, we could just go back to doing our normal thing. So.
Well, I'll leave you be. Thank you very much for the information.
Okay. She goes back to doing her thing, shuffling stuff out of boxes and putting them in your containers and everything.
All right.
Was there anything else anyone else was wanting to do, look at, try to fix up, or?
I don't.
No.
I was on mute. Hakru would absolutely be tuning up that new speeder.
Okay.
Like very much the way guys, motorcycle guys are.
Sure.
That's how he's gonna be with that speeder, because like that's really the first thing that's his.
Yeah. And
So just like
it's
when like no one's looking, like grabbing the better parts from the other speeder to put onto this one,
yeah.
really polishing it up, making it and just getting it in best working order possible. And there will probably be upgrades later, but right now if he's not piloting, sleeping or eating, he's working on that speeder.
Okay. Yeah, I put the speeders in the Ripper character sheet, basically at the bottom. You can click on the link and see the 2 speeders if you wanted.
Cool.
The ship seems to be working fine right now, as good as it was before. So, let's see. I guess a couple hours are going to go by. About 6 hours. About that time, Nanak comes out of the pilot area and out of the cockpit and says he's hungry. He's going to fix some food if anybody wants anything. He goes to start making stuff. Lena is not around at this moment. So he makes food. If you guys want to, you can sit down and eat.
Yeah, I could eat.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, he fixes a pretty, I guess, decent meal for what you guys have with the new food that's been brought in. Everyone eats. It's pretty mundane. Does anybody need to talk about anything or ask him about anything, or just in general share what's going on? Anything with Shinna and the mechanic that you talked to, her crew? I don't think there was a whole lot he had to say.
Yeah, it was very much. I got there. I basically showed up with a list of parts. It was like, I was told you can get me this. The kid that came with gave more details about what was going on because the crew didn't know them.
Right.
And then the guy was like, "Here, take everything." I don't even think I actually paid anything. Like, as far as I know, I got all this for free. All I had to do was just agree to take his mother off world, and
Right.
that's what we're doing.
Okay. And you don't think no one's from the gang saw your ship or anything like that? So he thinks if we need to set down, if the Ripper needs to set down in the city, they could probably do that near his shop and not be accosted or anything like that.
Yeah, and I can even and I would say that's probably one thing that probably would have been more reported when I first got back. Would have been, and I think I did cover this with everybody. Like they are asking for reinforcements. They were having a meeting in the middle of town, but instead of hanging out and listening to what was going on in that meeting, I used the time with them not paying attention to get out of there. So
yeah, and you don't know if it was in a building or what. It wasn't quite clear. They were just calling for people to come back in.
Right.
Okay. So that's pretty much it. Dinner's. I don't remember anything else being talked about. Dinner's pretty much over. Everyone's kind of going back to their thing. Nanut's gonna go to bed for a while, and Leto's gonna pilot in the meantime, or just keep an eye on things, basically.
Okay, Lashara's going to go back to her space and kind of quote unquote meditate.
Okay.
I don't know if she really knows how to do that quite yet, but she's definitely going to sit and like deeply reflect on the feeling that she had a while back. And she was trying to figure out how long they had till the Tatari came back to the village.
Okay.
It really kind of perplexed her that she felt such a strong feeling, so she's going to go back and really kind of think about that.
Okay. All right. A couple more hours go by, and let's have everybody with force sensitivity to make a use the force check.
I got a 19.
Okay.
I got 23.
Okay. You both are doing your thing. I'm assuming you're working on the bike and you're sort of meditating. And this feeling, it feels like the air is sort of getting heavier, but moving in a direction, and it's not really the air at all. So let's say part of your body sort of gets, the hair sort of stands up, but it feels like it's moving in a direction for both of you.
This is going to kind of startle Lashara, and she's going to get up and, like, is it possible for her to move in the direction that it's that?
Yeah, with the check you just got, you both can sort of figure out which direction it's coming from.
Hakru is grabbing a weapon.
Okay. All right.
And he is going to, as stealthily as possible.
Okay.
And it's just anything like a lead pipe.
Okay.
Like he's like, so it's like an improvised weapon, I guess, for this. And he would be just going right back into his stalking predator mode.
Okay.
Where he thinks something is hunting him and he's trying to get the drop on it.
Okay. What's both of your dexterities?
I think I've got an 18. Yeah.
17 for me.
Okay. Hakru's sort of stalking through the ship, slowly looking around. Lash, are you being stealthy at all, or are you just kind of walking toward it at normal pace, or?
Was the feeling of danger at all? Was there any kind of you don't have? That was all she got. She didn't have any particular reason to. I don't think it startled her because it was a strong feeling, but I don't think she's like suspicious of danger. Okay, so she's not going to be stealthy at the moment.
Yeah, and as you start walking toward it or moving toward it, it feels like you're getting caught up more in the flow of it or whatever it is. It feels like it's bending a little bit. So I'm going to say you both sort of get to a point where you're walking down a corridor and you sort of face each other, and it's not coming from either one of you. It's coming from behind one of the doors, from one of the sleeping quarters.
I'm gonna look at Hakru and tilt my head and kind of squint my eyes just a little bit. I want him to know that I sense something, but I don't want to give myself away completely.
Okay.
When you see Hakru, so like Hakru sees you and you see Hakru, like it is like an animalistic crouch position. He's white knuckling this lead pipe. He sees you and just raises his hand.
And Lashara's just going to put her hands up like, it's not me.
Yeah. You're both facing
Right.
each other, and the flow is kind of bending toward the door that's closed.
Yeah. So, Crew having his little PTSD flashback from this, he is going to stealth up towards the door.
Okay.
Do we know whose quarter this usually is? Or who might be using it?
You're not sure. You don't see anybody else around as you're stalking toward it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I've got my room. Everyone has their normal rooms, so this isn't somebody's actual room. Because you said it was in the sleeping corridors.
Let's see if we can look on the map if it gives us anything different.
Because I imagine this is like going over by the bunks, and
Yeah.
if it's none of our bunks, and it's possibly, and I would know where Leah was bunking down. So if it's like her bunk,
Let's see.
it's the difference between do I hesitate when I swing or do I just swing? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Let's say, she is in sort of, let's see if they have the thing on here. Of course not. You're coming up to section number 4, which is the medical bay, but that's where you have put Lena, basically, at this point.
So
Lash is just going to kind of...
at a minimum, there is Lena possibly in there. Gotcha.
Yeah, so Lash sees how prepared Hakru is,
Right.
and now she is suspicious. Now she's like, uh-oh. And
Right.
she backs against the bulkhead, and she's not doing anything else, but she's like ready to move away if there is danger.
Okay.
So Hakru's going to open the door, which I imagine is pushing a button.
Yeah. You push a button, the door...
And he immediately hides. So it just opens to nothing.
Actually, Lash, are you on the other... Are you back still, or are you across from the door like you were to see in?
No, my back is against the same wall corridor that the door is, so
Okay.
I can't see in there either.
So it's like she's on the left side, I'm on the right side. I hit the button, and the door opens.
Door
and
opens,
then, like,
and you...
as stealthily as I can without being seen, I just peek around to see what I see.
As soon as the door opens, it's one of those loud noises. You hear a ooh and a thud.
Oh, I'm in there.
And turn around the corner, and it's Lena, and she's sitting on the floor, kind of leaned over, and she's kind of like looking around. Oh,
Do I see anyone else other than her?
no, it's just her. It looks like she may have, if she was sitting in a chair, she just fell on the floor, sort of. So she's kind of like starting to pick herself up to stand up.
Hakru starts stalking through the room. Like looking like under beds, just anywhere.
After a moment, and there isn't any kind of lead pipe hitting flesh or anything like that, she's gonna peek her head into. What does the feeling feel like at this point?
It instantly stopped as soon as the door opened.
Okay. She's just gonna watch her crew, and keep an eye on her crew, and go over and see if she can help. She sees Lena on the ground.
Yeah.
She don't know how she got there.
Right.
The crew probably saw, but I didn't, and I'm gonna go over and just see if I can help her.
Yeah. She needs a hand up, and she says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had some privacy in these quarters." Put puts her hand out. Thank you, dear, and stands up and kind of dusts herself off.
Lashara is going to ask her, "Are you okay? What happened?"
I was just meditating, and the door opened. It startled me, and I lost my concentration.
And Lashara, while she wasn't quite meditating before, and she knows basically what meditating is, but she's going to further question this and say, you were meditating. I felt something pulling me towards this room. Are you sure you were meditating?
Oh yeah, yes. I was tapping into the Force to relax myself for the journey.
Lashara's going to look at Hakru.
Hakru is searching for something. Like, it's like the best way I can describe it, it's like when a cat is aware there is a dog present. It's like, where is it?
And she looks at Lash, kind of turns her head a little bit, and she goes, Are you Force sensitive, my dear?" And she puts her hand on your cheek.
And she says, "Well, I'm not sure what that is. I think I've heard about the Force before in my studies, but it was only mentioned kind of in the background, and I don't know what you're referring to."
Oh, well, the Force is how do I explain this? How was I told? It's an energy field that some people can sense and some people can manipulate. It sort of expands through the galaxy, I guess, and it ties us all together.
She goes, wait. Ties us all together? This sensitivity, can it let you talk to people in other places?
Yes, I've heard of it. I've heard of it doing that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now she has like Lashara's complete and utter attention because Lashara for these past week or two has thought of little else than her dream of that character from the intro, and yeah, she wants to know more here.
She says you can use it to send thoughts to other people, but it's not much more than a single word usually. But you can tap into the Force to see sort of what's around you, what your eyes cannot see. You can also, some people can see things that are to come, but it's murky. It's not quite like reading a book or anything.
She says, I think I understand, and I do have this ability. I believe I there's been some times where I've been lost in thought, and I've seen visions and places and things and smells and things I've never seen before on my own. But I thought I might be crazy. At least my mom thought I was crazy. She never let me talk about it.
Oh, that's unfortunate. My grandmother used to be able to use the Force, and she sort of taught me or helped me a little bit. She was a lot stronger with it than I was. But yeah, you can use it to do a lot of different things. Some people can lift things up with using the Force. I can barely manage to lift myself off the ground when I meditate, but I just recently learned how to do that. That wasn't something I always knew how to do.
So Hakru is going to interject here real quick, because at this point in time, he's literally been like almost tossing the room. And he's going to turn back to those. Was there anyone else in here with you?
No.
Did anyone leave?
No, dear. It was just me. She turns and says, "Are you Force sensitive too?" And she puts her hand on your chest.
He kind of like takes half a step back, like, what are you doing? He also still has, this is also when he becomes aware of like, oh right, the pipe.
Yeah. And when
He
she
just sets that
when she
down.
sees you pull back, she goes, "Oh, I'm not going to hurt you, dear. I'm just trying to sense if you are force sensitive or not. Some people you can feel it flow through them, and others hide it." And she looks at you, and you get a word sort of forms in your mind, and it's not your voice, it's hers. And she says, safe.
Hakru just starts shaking his head. Just goes, the sisters do that. No.
The sisters do that.
No. And he leaves the room.
Oh,
Like, he doesn't turn his back on her. He backs out of the room, just saying no.
she looks really perplexed. Like she has no idea who this. Well, she has no idea who the sisters are. She says, "Oh, I wonder if someone hurt him with the Force. I've heard of that too. I've heard of people being able to use it to do bad things."
Lashara is like immensely into learning more from her. So she holds her hand out, palm up, and says, "Can you tell if this is the case with me?" And she just kind of hands her hand out there for her to grab.
She holds your hand and she says, "Concentrate and think of a thought or a word. Speak it with your mind. Try to tell me something, and I'll let you know if I can hear it."
Okay, so she's gonna just like concentrate on
Yeah.
her mother. It was just like the first thing that popped into her head, and she just like imagines a picture of her mom and,
Okay.
and
You-
a regal gown.
It's pretty easy. I think it's just a basic use the Force roll. DC
Okay.
10.
No, I got a 2.
Oh, you rolled a 2 with what? What you use the Force skill is?
Oh no, I got I got to add +4 to that, so 6.
Okay. Concentrate. And she says, you're trying too hard. She puts her other hand on the bottom of your hand. She says, feel the Force flow through you. It connects us,
Want me to roll another?
binds
try?
us. Yeah.
Damn it.
Life creates it.
17.
There you go. All of a sudden, she smiles really big and she says, "Your mother is very beautiful."
And Lashara's eyes light up, and her hair kind of stands up on end just a little bit.
Yeah. She starts to describe your mother, the color of her fur. She loves to match her makeup with her wardrobe. That's sweet. Is she noble born?
Lashara, gives her a brief description. Says, "Yeah, she's noble born. My family, or what I thought was my family, are nobles on Bothawai." And she gives her a description and everything, but she almost tosses that to the side with this newfound interest in the Force, and she says, "Can you show me any tricks to use this ability better?"
I could try. Hakru, how far do you take off? Because you feel that same sort of bend, but you get a very distinct feeling that it's Lash this time, that you're feeling sort of her.
So it kind of.
Her
Oh, I'm not on mute. Okay, I thought I was on mute again. Because on my screen, my box didn't light up. So it kind of depends on how long that conversation happens, because once he gets. Because I imagine this is what, section 4 on the map?
Yeah.
Okay. So he backs out, and then he would basically take the shortest distance to his bunk.
Okay. As you're getting back to your bunk, you feel that same sort of bend and everything, and it distinctly feels like Lash. Like you have been around her long enough. It feels like her voice almost, or like the smell of her in a weird way, but you're not smelling anything. And roll use the Force.
Okay. Because we're definitely in like fight or flight mode for him right now. That's 9 plus 18.
Yep. So you're about to your door, and all of a sudden you get a mental picture of Lash's mother, smiling at her, hugging her. Yeah. And it feels warm, and you feel the hug almost. And then it doesn't collapse, but it kind of tapers off.
He starts weeping
Go into his room.
and finishes going and just, I don't want to say like, like dramatic girl dives into his bunk, but almost dramatic girl dives into his bunk and just buries himself.
6'3", like horn guy, like
Basically,
on his bed.
Bullshit.
So, according to the map, there's 3 bunks per chamber, right?
Yeah. You guys can adjust them however you want.
What are the odds that it's either Dodd Hakru and somebody else, or Jad Hakru and somebody else?
I guess everyone needs to pick
Cheers.
either 9 or 10 for their bunk.
I'll go with the left side, whatever that was.
Left side is 9.
Okay, so I'm 9.
okay, I'm going to odd and even this. Odd is 9. It isn't. Okay, yeah, so I go to 9.
Okay. Okay.
Door opens.
I'm gonna say
Sit up a little bit.
I'm gonna say number 2 is is Nanat's room. So he's up by the cockpit.
Makes sense.
So
Dives into the bed.
he comes in, his eyes are all teared up, and he just slams into the bed to his bunk.
Dodd shakes his
Sorry.
head.
Yeah, so, yeah,
Leans back and kicks his feet back up.
like
Smiles.
he's eyes are watering, he's breathing heavy, sweating heavily. He's, doing that.
Is that no, huh, kid?
I didn't even hear you, and I'm going to go with he didn't hear you either.
She said no, huh, kid?
he no response. He's
Hey,
like
Over his head.
he very much does have like the blanket wrapped up around him, and he's just like laid fetal position, like back flush up against the wall. If you get a good look at his face, you see that this isn't sadness, it is straight terror in his eyes.
what's going on? I say as I kind of reach for my blaster on my hand and start moving towards the door. Are we in trouble?
Man, so not to be difficult, but in extreme terror, you go back to your home language. So he's speaking Zabrak.
Walk out the door. Start walking towards the mess hall. I'm assuming that's where the shit's going down, so I'm gonna go there.
It is
Mess hall adjacent?
Yeah, I think it is pretty close, right?
Yeah, because if the mess hall is section 3,
Yeah.
then 4 is literally a pair of doors.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got my blaster out, but it's low to the ground. I'm thinking something crazy is going on. I will roll a listen check. Is that a skill here? Listen. Detect.
I think it's
What
just
is it?
perception.
Perception, yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess I would be sitting at the chair
Oh, if you're in
in the mess hall and looking at you getting ready to go through that door to go down to 5, like, what the heck? And I'm going to grab my blaster and
the okay, cool.
follow him.
Yeah, I look at you and
Don't
it
kill
doesn't
my
look
teacher.
like you're probably just enjoying a meal or something, right, Chad?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a path I could have easily have taken that's still a straight line that has me going nowhere near the mess hall.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's a reasonable, like,
Yeah.
whatever happened must have happened in the mess hall.
Yeah.
So I walk in, I look at Jad, and he's just eating.
Yep.
So I shrug, kind of turn, and then roll my perception. Ooh, 19 plus. Perception plus 8, so 27.
Yeah. You walk in and stop for a second, and you hear voices on the other side of the door. You hear Lash's voice and Lena's voice.
Do they sound excited, angry?
Oh, they're just talking.
Okay, then I ignore that. Where's the cargo hold?
Okay.
What could her crew have been involved in?
I think section 8 and 7 are both the cargo hold.
Okay, so Jad and I are military style, looking through doorways and
Yeah.
trying to figure out what's going on. Nothing?
Yeah.
Okay. After a little bit, we'll go check in with Lashara and whatever.
Okay.
Lena. Yeah.
Okay. In the meantime, we cut back to Lena and Lash, and she's basically going through the rundown. Life creates it. It makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us, and it binds us, and we're really luminous beings, not this stuff. And she pokes at your shoulder a little bit. You can tap into the Force to see what's around you. You can ask the Force for guidance when doing things, whether it's favorable or not. My great-grandmother, who practiced the Force, said that she could move semi-decent-sized items with her mind. She could put herself into a trance to regain her connection with the Force. She could use the Force to hold her breath for a very long time. And she could also put others in a trance-like state so they could heal a lot faster. But this takes a lot of practice and discipline to do these sorts of things.
So Lashara asks her, is there any school or place that I can go to learn more?
She says there was a group of sorcerers who used to use the Force, and they had a great war here a few years ago, so I'm not sure if any of them are left around anymore. I know there were good sorcerers and there were bad sorcerers, and it sounds like your friend had contact with the bad sorcerers. But we never saw any of the conflict. It never came to Daghi, so we just continued our life the way we did every day. She says, I could help you a little bit to do what I do, but you probably need to get some official training for someone who knows a lot more. If my grandmother was around, she could teach you, but she died many years ago.
Go ahead, Greg.
Is the door open to this conversation, or is the door closed?
About the time you guys come into the hallway, the door's open. Lash is kind of just still standing in the doorway, and they're holding hands and talking in normal voices.
If you guys are at all paying attention to the door, you see Dodd kind of slide in the doorway, slide sideways, looking both directions, looking at the two of you. Does one of these.
Lena kind of peeks out from the side of Lash. She says, "Is something
got my
going
blaster
on?"
kind of pointed down. Jad, are you with me? Like
Right here.
Okay.
Yeah, and Lash says, "Is everything okay?"
I don't know. I was in my room, and her crew came in loudly and clearly upset about something. I think something scared him on this ship. Are you guys okay?
Lash shakes her head a little bit and says, "Everything's okay. You guys can put down your weapons. Let me explain." And she says, "Lena here is something called Force sensitive. Have you guys ever heard of the Force?"
How common knowledge is the Force and Jedi? And
If
that
you
kind of
have
stuff?
galactic knowledge,
I do
you know of the recent war If you don't, you know there was a war. You don't know who it was between. It was people within the Republic being sort of attacked or used by two groups. One was called the Jedi and one was called the Sith, and that's about all you know.
Okay. Restate the question again. I'm sorry.
She said, "Have you ever heard of the Force?"
No. I mean, this is no.
I got the Force right here.
Yeah.
So she says, "So bear with me for a second, because this is gonna sound really strange."
Okay,
But
as she's describing that, I'm continuing to look out the door down the hallway.
So Lash says, I was sitting in my room thinking about the events of the last few weeks. My life's been really crazy, and I got this really strong feeling in it, and I think Hakru did too. And it led us to this room, and Lena here is Force sensitive, and she was meditating and using the Force, which is this apparently some kind of energy field that you can tap into if you have a bit of internal skill for it. And she's kind of explaining it to me, but it kind of all makes sense for me. Everything is kind of falling in line, but I swear everything's okay. You might want to check on Hakru though. I think he knows a little bit about this, and I don't think he likes it much. But
I get the sense that Hakru is wanting his own safe space right now, not wanting anybody giving him the old Force.
Well, he left out of here in a quick hurry, and I could tell that he wasn't happy.
I'll talk to Nanak. Maybe he'll talk to him.
Okay, well, I'm going to stay here with Lena for a little while, and I can tell you, and I hope you believe and trust me, she's okay. I can tell. She's no harm.
Lena, so you're some sort of priest? Is that what I'm getting?
I guess so. I have faith.
Okay. Well, cool. And then I turn and walk out the door and go towards Nanat's chamber.
Okay.
I'll watch him leave, and then I'll just be like, I'm going back to dinner.
Okay. You go to Knott's door, ring it. A couple seconds later, door opens and he comes out and his fur is all messed up. What's going on?
Hey, do you know we picked up a priest?
A priest? The old lady?
Yes. Yeah, she's a priest and apparently really scary. Hakru's hiding in this oh shoot, what the hell are they called?
The bunk.
Places where people
Bunk, yeah, crew
in
bunk.
his bunk. And he seemed pretty upset. He's a pretty tough hombre. I don't know what she did to scare him, but
She's like 90
yeah, I wasn't scared at all.
and maybe
I'm telling you.
80 pounds if she's wet.
Yep. Yep.
Ah, crap.
I'm gonna go eat. Let me know how it goes with her crew. All right. I turn and walk back towards
The door closes. He goes
Yeah.
back to bed.
Perfect.
What's a great point of reference for all of this is when we were in that firefight, like being shot down, Hakru was fine.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I did say he was a tough hombre.
Yeah.
Right? He's a pretty tough hombre.
Well, that's just what's dawning on me. It's like, oh yeah, no, these are both the right responses that he would have, but it's like, oh, this is extra weird looking.
Okay. We cut back to Lena and Lash. And she's just telling her all she can tell her, you know. It guides your destiny. All kinds of stuff. It just, you have to tap into it. The more you tap into it, the easier it'll become to be aware of it and to utilize it.
So Lash says, well, thank you for telling me about this. As I just told Dodd, this is all making sense. Everything you've told me fits into what's been happening in my life the last few years, and I would love to spend some more time with you and learn if you're willing.
Certainly. We'll call it a trade-off for the ride. I know my son put you up to it, but I feel like I need to earn my keep somewhat. So
And she says, "Thank you, thank you. Is there a time you want me to come back?"
we could try this in the morning, and we'll bring something small, and we'll see if we could try levitating it.
And her eyes just get real big, and she can't even fathom that. But she says, "Oh, okay, I'll see you in the morning."
Okay.
And heads back out into the mess to sit down and think about this craziness. But so much sense has just been made in her head.
Okay. Door closes, and she starts getting ready for bed. You walk out into the mess, and you see Jad sitting there with some tea and maybe some cookies or something. It's this would be late at night, about midnight or so, 11 o'clock, midnight. So
Say, guys. Well, how's everything going? What went down? I mean, everybody okay?
So Lashar said, "Yeah, everything's fine. I just learned something new that's putting a lot of reason in my head right now. Is Hakru okay? Did anybody check on him?"
I think Dodd went back to the room. I'm not sure. He was muttering something about "can't believe he's crying." I don't know what that meant.
Dodd, where did you go back? Did you go back to your bunk?
Sure. If Jed says I went back to the room, I went back to
Okay.
the room. But I walk past Hakru and I pretend not to see it.
Not to look at him at all like, hey.
Actually, here's the thing. I sent a text to Kirk.
Oh, sorry.
You don't see Hakru.
Okay, he's not in there? Or he's hidden?
He's hidden.
Okay.
Okay. So I just shrug and go. Well, I'm nursing a pretty good sized blaster wound in my chest right now. And
Yeah.
It still stings.
Yeah.
The crew is just gone.
Yeah, you walk back in expecting to see him on his bunk, and the bunk's all messed up, and he's not there. All the stuff's still there, but
They'll handle it, I say. Lay back against the wall.
Okay.
Grab my
Dodd quickly
feet
looks
up
around and goes,
start sifting.
"This is not my circus."
Right.
okay. So a night passes on the ship, and in the morning, everyone starts getting up again. You find Lena in the mess hall, and she's making breakfast for everybody.
Yeah, so Lash gets up and heads when she smells awesome breakfast and eats and just small talk with everyone if no one's coming out.
I haven't had fried Minot fritters this good since I don't even know when.
Yeah, it's all small talk. She's just kind of asking about how you guys met and, that sort of stuff. Nothing intrusive. It's just getting to know everybody. So breakfast goes by. Nanak thanks her for breakfast. It was very delicious. And he takes his big cup of caffeinated drink and goes to the cockpit. You guys hear a callback. We've got about 5 hours left before we reach the system.
And Lash looks at Lena. Well, she goes over and she helps Lena clean up, does the dishes or whatever, however that works on the starship, and asks if that's enough time for a lesson.
Yeah, we could try that. She says we could do it here if you want. It's I don't think it's anything private or anything like that, as long as we can sort of concentrate and not be bothered too much.
Okay.
And she says, is there a small object that you have?
She holds out. What does she hold out? What do I have? She holds out her ornate knife. It's not very big.
Okay.
And it's got the family crest on it.
Okay.
but it's just a simple hand dagger, basically.
Okay. So she kind of sits down at the table next to you, and she starts sort of coaching you through it. Like, close your eyes. Imagine seeing it with your eyes closed. Goes through this whole thing, like, close your eyes first and see your room, see your bunk, and then look around, turn to your left, walk down a hallway, that sort of stuff. And she's asking you sort of what you see as you're doing this, and you're able to describe what you're seeing, either from memory, but it feels a little more real. And when she tells you to walk into the mess hall, you're able to see yourself and her sitting there talking. And this is a use the force, so go ahead and roll.
Okay. 8.
Okay. So you're not sure if you're visualizing this or if this is really what you're seeing. And she continues, she says, now stop and concentrate on my hand. And while this is all happening, Hakru, make another use the force check. Oh, you're muted.
I said he's never coming out of the ceiling now. Yeah, that's what he did while you guys were all talking. He removed a ceiling panel and just went up inside the ship. This is ridiculous. Okay, 25.
You're up in the ceiling
I've been
panel.
rolling high teens on the.
You're up in the ceiling panel, like trying to forget about everything, and all of a sudden, this mental image of Lash walking through the ship below you, walking into the mess, and seeing herself and Lena's talking, and you're hearing the coaching she's going through, and she's saying, "Look at my hand," and then she opens up her hand and does this, and she says, "Now, how many fingers am I holding up?" So, Lash, go ahead and make another roll. Use the force.
8.
8 again.
Yes.
You're like, I don't see anything, and Hakru's sitting there going 4. She's holding up 4 fingers. And
Hakru is flashback to last time a force wielder raised a hand to him, and so you just see images now of green tendrils floating out from those fingers and what feels like your flesh being set on fire and ripped apart. Because that's the memory that's going through Hakru's head right now.
Yeah, and Lashara gets that vibe. She can't see it exactly like that, but she gets that vibe, and that really breaks her concentration.
Okay. And she says, "Now try again. See, keep your eyes closed, and feel the force flowing through you. Feel it connecting."
17 this time.
17.
Yep.
This time all of a sudden it moves from her sitting there, and all of a sudden her hand's out and she's holding up 4 fingers. It's just, how many fingers am I holding up?
And she almost gets excited and almost breaks her concentration, but then she kind of settles back into it, and she just says 4.
Okay. And while this is happening, Hakru is going through his dream state, his memories, and all of a sudden it's like Lash pushes through all of that, and you just see her, and she goes, "Oh, you're holding up 4 fingers." And she says, "Good. That's your first step." And then she says, "Okay, go ahead and open up your eyes and look at your dagger and concentrate on it. There is no mass. There is no gravity. See it moving. See it lifting up off the table. It doesn't have to go very far. It just has to lift up a little bit." She keeps reiterating all this force flows through you. It binds you. It connects you with all things. Go ahead and make another roll. This you're going to need a 20.
Yeah, it's an 11.
Okay. It just sits there. It doesn't do anything. She starts the coaching over and over. It's an energy field. Just, it's warmth. It's love. It's connection. And Go ahead and roll again, and if you want to spend a force point to augment the roll, you're more than welcome to.
Okay.
So how much this brain connection is still there with what they can see? Because it's a dagger, happiness, something warm flowing. Hakru's thinking about blood, someone giggling as they cut him.
You're still seeing. You're suddenly seeing Lash sitting there, concentrating on the knife. It's got her family crest on it, and she's just concentrating on it as hard as she can.
Yeah, and she even like kind of pushed the these images that she's kind of feeling from Hakru.
Right.
She's kind of excited that this is a thing that she's picking up a little bit, and it makes her focus that much more. So you rolled a 15 this time, and with a first point, do I get to just
You roll a d6 and add it to it.
okay? Let's see, that's a 19.
Okay. You're getting the dagger starts to move just a little bit, and then all of a sudden you are picturing Hakru up in the ceiling, terrified. And you kind of say his name all of a sudden because you're seeing sort of the green fire is sort of what he's going through.
Okay. And that again, like, just breaks her concentration momentarily.
And you say his name, and he sees you say his name when all of these mental images are coming, and it sort of cuts through the mental images.
He jumps
to her feeling.
Yeah, and Lashara's hair stands up.
Yeah.
So Dodd, who's probably in the bunk, he just hears a crash above him.
A thump, crash, like he kicks all of a sudden, and kicks a conduit. The light kind of flickers, and you look at when you look up, you see one of the panels is not quite all the way back the way it should be.
I reach over to the comm. Nanak, are we under attack?
No, we are not. What is going on?
I don't know. I just had. Did we hit something?
No.
Something happened just above the quarters here.
We're still in hyperspace.
Oh, that's bad.
Is there something in the panels?
I don't know.
I don't think we picked up any small life forms on the planet.
Put my gun away and look around for something that's like a broom or something I can.
You see a metal pipe laying on Hakru's bed.
Looks familiar from the last scene. I'll pick up the lead pipe or the metal pipe. And I'll stand on his bunk because it sounded like it came from right above his bunk, right?
Yeah.
And I tap it.
The plate kind of pops up and sits askew a little bit, and you can see what looks like clothing up there.
I think we have a nest.
It looks like his clothing, basically. It's
his clothing?
Pretty distinct, yeah.
I put the pipe back up and slide the panel back over and let it rest.
It pops back into place.
I put the thing down and I lay back on the bed and I go, not that I know that you're up there or anything, but keep it down, all right? Trying to sleep.
Okay. Back to the table, and she says, one more time. She says, concentrate.
Okay. There we go. That is going to be a 23.
There you go. And it sits there and it rocks a little bit and then slowly lifts up just about an inch or two. And then it falls back down as you get excited that you've just done this.
This is in the dining hall?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck did you just do, Lashara?
Lashara looks over and looks down at the knife, like disbelieving that she just did that. She's as startled by it. Like she's like, "That's what I wanted to do. That's what I was thinking of doing. That's what I was concentrating on. But that actually happened." And it looks at Jad like with big eyes and like, "Holy shit!"
Your eyes are as big as mine. I'm telling you, and I don't know what the hell just happened, but that was ridiculous.
You turn back to Lena, and she's just got a big grin on her face. And Hakru, you see that point, it pops through, and you see her lift up the knife and then drop it back down. And you hear her talking loudly and, down the hallways or whatever. I can't believe that.
So Lash, like kind of reels herself in. She's not used to showing that level of emotion, but it's just running through her, and she tries to calm back down, and looks back at Lena and says, "Thank you so much for showing me this. I'll cherish this lesson. But before anything else, can you tell me anything about visions and how to bring them, or they've come to me involuntarily before, but I'd like to explore them more."
I don't have a lot of experience with them. I do know that it's always about emotion, strong emotion. So it could be you sending them back in time to yourself. It could be you picking up on people's emotions, rippling backwards through time. It could be someone sending you emotions from the future. It just depends. Do you tell her your whole vision and everything, or
No,
okay.
No, not yet.
So that's basically all she could tell you. She just says it could be those three things.
Well, thank you. I think I'm gonna sit and practice for a while.
Okay, sounds good. And she gets up and makes herself some tea and goes up to the cockpit to watch the stars or watch the hyperspace.
Cool.
Okay, a couple more hours left over. Anyone do anything? After that, the feeling of the force kind of ebbs, so it's gone quiet again in the ship.
Hakru is going to wait basically until we land or somebody gets him out of the ceiling.
Okay.
Since we're almost back or to where we're going, I'm going to go into my bunk or wherever we're storing the weapons and polish up my bowcaster.
Okay. It would probably be in your bunk. I would assume most people keep their belongings in or near where they sleep.
After Lashara practices some more with the concentration and the skills she just learned, she's going to go back and check on Hakru because she just kind of had that connection with him and saw some things that she wants to ask him about and can tell that he's very emotional and potentially scared. She
Right.
got that from the connection. So she's going to go see if she can find him.
Okay. You go back in the bunks, door opens, and you see Dodd kind of lean back, reading a data pad.
Dad, I just learned a wonderful thing, and I think it might have just changed my life. But have you seen Hakru?
You look up and
She
you
kinda
see
looks up.
there's a panel that's got a mark on it.
And she didn't even climb up there. She just says, Hakru, come out of there. Can I talk to you?
Roll a persuasion.
Yeah.
All right.
By the way, Dad is expressing kind of like that's really groovy kind of expression on his face. Like it seems pretty sincere but uninterested at the same time.
I have massive persuasion skill. It's a +9. I roll a 17. So you're dealing with
Okay, yeah.
26.
Yeah, I looked up the fear rules for this.
Okay.
And I was kind of given it as a between his relationship with you, but also like his fear of where the Force was, had because it's all based off of the will DC. I was kind of like, okay, well, this probably makes it still a little bit harder, but it's not fucking impossible. Oh, you got above 20. That's way more than what I was going to set the DC for. So yeah, he's got.
What she's trained in is persuasion and diplomacy. So yeah, that's massive skill there.
Yeah. So like the marked panel lifts, and like it's very slow. Starts with his horns, and then his eyes come up, and it kind of very much becomes that little kid just like through the panel, and he's looking at you, and like there are tear stains coming down like the side of him. Like sweat has refrozen over the top of his brow, and like you sensed fear, but that's because he was holding back the literal pants shitting terror.
So she, in her most democratic way that she can, pull up, she says, "Hakru, I know that this force has had some dangerous, difficult emotions in your past, but I don't think that Lena or myself is using it that way. I think you're going to be just fine. There's no green tendrils here. You're going to be okay. There's no ill will from her or me."
I know there is no ill will from you or her. That is why I did not use the pipe.
And she kind of, now that she hears him talk, she kind of lets her guard down just a little bit. And she, again, as diplomatic as she can, she says, I saw some images and had some smells and feelings that were very scary to me. Do you want to talk about it?
No. But I will say, beware the sister's art. The sister starts sweet.
And she says, I can, what does she say? She says that she's going to respect his privacy, and that if there's anything that she can ever do to help, she's there.
Both of you roll use the force.
17. You are way more force sensitive than I am, I think.
With that,
I have it as one of my class skills.
With that,
that I'm actually trained in.
Sees a face that he is terrified of, and it's a woman, a younger woman, bald, with face tattoos on, with like a gray skin, and her eyes are flickering green. And you see some of the stuff that she has done to him, torture, cutting, that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So you get a very clear mental image of who and why, what he's afraid of.
And she falls over. She falls backwards and lands on her butt with her hands behind her and looks at him. And she said, "I had no idea. I'm so sorry." And she actually, this is disturbing enough to her, what she just saw and sensed, that she stands back up, looks at him. I'll give you opportunity to say something, but she's going to leave the room.
He goes, "If I had it my way, you never would have known."
What is the name of that night sister? I'm trying to get to it real quick.
Yeah. I know she's linked to me.
Yes. Andrew. Sula.
Yeah, Sula.
You hear in your mind, Lash's mind, Sula, when you see her face.
So she again, she's really disturbed, and she's gonna leave the room, but she's gonna push her head back in the door, and says, "I respect that these are your thoughts, and I won't tell anyone else." And then she just kind of walks away.
And then you hear from behind you, "Me either."
Panel goes back into place.
I imagine Dodd's there like this, "Oh, me neither."
Yep, exactly.
Like, what?
Like this totally personal exchange just
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Like lots of emotion. He's just like this the whole time.
Yep.
It's like the roommate in every
Yeah.
like
Awkward
like
roommate.
college movie, because you
Right.
know the roommate who's never seen. He's just off camera, just doing whatever his life
Right,
is.
right. It's funny. I mean, inside it, the inside dialogue from Dot is, "This is really embarrassing. I shouldn't be watching this." Right, but outwardly he's just a little more wry than that, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'll stand up and tap the ceiling and say, "Hey, I'm gonna run and get some breakfast. If you want something, I can bring it back for you."
Your stomach goes. "Urgh."
Yeah, but
know
hunger's a pain that I'm used to. He
know what
leaves
he
it
eats.
alone.
I know
He's-
what he eats, right?
What's up?
I know what he eats. We've been shipping.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah.
loves, he loves eggs.
He
Eggs
will
are his
literally
thing.
eat anything that gets put in front of him, no matter how bad it smells or looks.
All right. Then I'll go to the galley. I'll prep up a nice, half-ass nice anyway, meal for.
There's some leftover. Yeah, she
Bring
made.
it back into the room, set it on his bed, and then walk back out like I'd never been in there and
Yeah.
start my own breakfast.
Yeah, Lena made enough for everybody, so there's leftovers, and she made a plate for him, and it was sitting in a warming container or whatever.
So this is priest food. Pretty good.
Yeah.
So when the door closes,
Yeah.
like from a cinematic standpoint, Hakru's hand comes out, move light object
Yeah.
to lift the plate up to him.
No.
Use the force.
Awesome.
You're
I just had
you're not
chills.
trained
Yeah.
you're not trained in it yet, are you?
I am.
Oh, there you go. So with
That's
the coaching,
one of the side effects of the sister.
okay. So from the coaching and everything, go ahead and use use the force.
I didn't max it.
The hand reaches down and kind of relaxes for a second, and you're remembering everything that she was just being taught, and the plate slowly lifts up. It doesn't shake, it doesn't tremor, nothing. And finally the plate moves into the hand, and he takes it up into the ceiling.
Dodd sees this, or he,
No, he went
I
out of the
waited
room.
for it to end.
Yeah.
So it's just this cinema scene
And
of
it's-
just
And it's
the
a,
hand comes
Little
out,
cutscene.
the
Yeah.
plate rises,
yeah,
then the panel goes back into
yeah.
Place.
It's
And
a
that's
very
when the commercial would happen.
Yeah, it's a very warm feeling that sort of rushes over Hakru and Lashara. Make a use the force roll.
17.
Yep.
Wow.
You're sitting out there with Lena, and you both kind of stop for a second, and she looks over to you and she pats your hand, and she says, "I think he'll be fine."
And she just kind of nods back. She's still like out of sorts with the images that she saw.
Yeah.
She's never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
So
If you tell her about seeing images or anything like that, then she goes into, you can sometimes see other people's emotions through, from the past, from the future, from the present. It gets very confusing a lot of times, especially if you don't know the people and where they're at and where they've been. You can, it just jumbles together sometimes.
okay.
So, and your camera went all fuzzy. There you go.
It's better. That's the tremor in the force.
There you go. That's what it feels like. That's what it looks like. It feel like. Yeah. Whatever.
I keep popping onto a Word document that I'm using because I'm taking notes of all this stuff.
Okay. So a couple more hours go by, and over the intercom, you hear Nanak, and he says, "We're about to come out of hyperspace." Ooh, let me get to the page real quick. Bam. He says we're about to come out into the Dirk Teal system. So you guys start
Thank
moving
you,
about.
Captain. Go to the front, strap myself into one of them bucket seats.
Yep. You get up there, and Leto floats off into the back of the ship, so there's plenty of seats for everybody. Lena's not coming up front at all. If she was up front, she also moves to the back. She says, "I'm going to go strap in." She goes back to the galley.
Hakru's still in the ceiling because we haven't landed yet. We'll see how this plays out.
There you go. There you go. And with that, all of you sitting in the cockpit, all of a sudden the stars, and the ship comes out, and you see this big green planet, and the ship continues in. There's lots of traffic around this planet, a lot of ships coming off and on. It's a pretty busy planet in the mid-rim. The ship continues down, and he says, we've got the coordinates for the construction company. We should be there in just a few minutes. A few minutes pass by. You see a lot of green, and you start to come up onto a pretty good-sized city. It's got a couple skyscrapers, but nothing Coruscant size. And eventually he kind of veers off to the side, and there's a large industrial structure that's got a port kind of off to the side. It's near the spaceport. And the ship docks, sits down. It's pretty uneventful. Nothing crazy goes on. And the whole ship shudders as it touches down. And he says, that's it. It's up to you guys. I'm going to stay on the ship if it's okay with you all.
Okay, time to go sell some tour. Who's with me?
Now that the ship has stopped moving, Hakru climbs out of the ceiling, grabs his stuff, and just goes straight to the bay doors. Okay, essentially, like where we be getting out.
Yep.
He's got his blaster. He's got his blaster. He's got his pack, and he's like, "All right, let's go."
Okay. You guys are all there. The landing ramp comes down. The walk ramp sets down. And at the bottom, you see Haro. That's the gentleman that Greg talked to. He's got kind of a cap on, and a white shirt, and some regular pants, I guess. He's older, kind of reddish hair. For those at home, this is Charlton Heston from Soylent Green looking.
Okay.
And he says, welcome to Dirk Teal.
Hey, thanks.
He walks over and shakes your hand. He goes, you must be Dodd?
I am, all day.
Dodd.
All day.
If you guys
These are
want...
my friends. This is, and I just kind of introduced around the room.
Okay. He nods at everybody. He instinctually bows to Lashara for some reason.
Perfect.
And he says, if you want, my loader droids can start moving the tour off your ship, and we can go have some refreshments while they do that. Because
Sounds good.
I don't want to talk about it too much on the the landing pad.
Let's go.
Okay. And these floating sort of mover droids kind of go by, and they're just basically talking back and forth with what they're getting out, how many cases they're going to go put it up. And he walks over to, it looks like a large speeder, and jumps in. He says, come on in.
We'll walk on over to the speeder and jump in.
It's a big, like, 6-seater. It's a big Cadillac.
Shotgun.
Yeah. So you guys get in, and this thing takes off and goes into the sky back toward the big construction complex that you guys saw. You kind of flew over, and it goes kind of to the top. There's a small landing pad, and it sets down. And he says, let's go on into my office, and we can discuss things there. He gets out.
That's good.
You guys walk in, and it's a nice penthouse office living space. A lot of windows. He walks in, and there's a droid. And he says, spatchka and some food. He says something else, and the droid turns and whirls and goes off and does his thing. There's a big seating area in here, couches, that sort of thing. It looks like his office is off on the side. It's all glass and everything. And the droid comes back with spatchka for everybody. Nice, tall, fluted glasses, and goes around to each one until you take one. And he says, so, you guys had a pretty good trip? Pretty uneventful? And he takes a drink.
Yeah. I would say.
Hey,
So,
this is a pretty big place. What do you make here?
We do construction, usually high rises. He said, "Did you see that pearlescent one when you came in?" You guys kind of think back. Yeah, there was one that had kind of a nice shimmer to it. He says that we did that about a year ago.
Is that what you use the Tor for?
Says that's what it's used for. We figured out how to process it into the it's not plasticsteel, it's plasticrete, and it strengthens the plasticrete, and it also gives it this luminescent sort of shimmer to it. And that was the first one we did. And about 6 months ago, we did a penthouse on Coruscant. And that's what I think started all of the buzz around Tor. And then we did it for a senator. I don't remember his name. And about that time, the Tor started to dry up. So we haven't been able to finish any jobs that we just started. We had a run. We got about 3 in the hole that we're trying to get finished, and the people are upset. So they're willing to pay a little bit more now that the tour is dried up, but they're getting impatient. So this will go a long way.
So
we've
Lashara,
already- Go ahead.
go ahead. All right. So Lashara says, I do remember that building. It was quite lovely. So this tour rush may have been caused by your company, and it's caused some headaches all around, it seems. But we might be able to arrange for more. And she kind of looks at him with this kind of little side eye, where he could probably know that she's not lying.
Yeah. He looks shocked. He says, we will take all the tour you can get us. He says, if we could put a rush on it and get another shipment back here soon, maybe instead of paying the upcharge directly to you, we can maybe do some modifications on your ship. He says, I've got a mechanic here and some workers that could modify or tweak things. We could do it maybe over time if there's a plan of what you have what idea you want to do to the ship. But maybe we could do the trade in that, so some of our profits can be put back into hiring more crew to get this stuff taken care of a little faster, so we can get back on schedule.
So Lash looks at Dodd and kind of leans over to him on the couch and says, "Have you negotiated a price yet?"
That's what I was going to ask, actually. So we've negotiated a price before I even came here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, but we also talked to him about lining up a weapons deal as well.
Yeah. He says, I wasn't able to get a whole lot in the short amount of time, but with some of my licenses and the people I know, I was able to get a few things. And he kind of points to the droid. The droid turns around after it delivers some food, and it goes back off into the back and comes back out with a case. And he brings it over and sets it down. And there are 6, how did I put that? 6 thermal detonators sitting in not cotton, but straw. He says, these are all the explosives I could get you. But we do have an E-Web. We were able to manage to get one. It's a little older. It probably needs to be worked on a little bit.
I know a guy.
Power cell is not that reliable, so you may have to change it out or something later on.
If we can make this work, and if we can get the hydroponics, the weapons, and this E-Web blaster,
Yep.
To do the things that we expect it to do, we could very much be in business for Tor.
That sounds
Make
great.
this be very lucrative for both of us.
That sounds
He
great.
said E-Web, right? That
Yeah.
E-Web? Oh, guys.
You did say a big ass heavy repeating blaster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a chance that I could squeeze you for a few handguns as well?
We generally don't carry a lot
We'll pay for
here. He says, "I'll
I just kind of need them to be accessible and easy.
like pistols. I can get you some
Yeah.
pistols, probably."
Sure.
He says, "We've also got and he picks up a data pad and flips it to the wall, and the wall kind of an image comes on, and it's one of these hydroponic home gardens that it's like a little video of it, and it looks compact. It's the Back to the Future when they're having breakfast or dinner, and that thing comes out of the ceiling. And it's got all the fruit and vegetables and everything. That's exactly what it is. He says it can go.
One of those in my house.
It can go up into the ceiling. It's hidden. It looks like a light, but it grows rapidly. Rapidly grows food.
So I look at Jad, and then I look at Lashara, and then glance quickly at Hakru, who's probably. Are you still menacing?
Do you have your piper crew?
Oh, me?
Yeah. Are you
No,
still
Hakru's relaxed quite a bit.
Okay.
Sitting away from everybody.
I'll look at the three of you, and I'll say, "Do you think that this will work for our plan?" I'm not a military strategist. I'm not a herbologist, but I'm trying to make this deal happen. Lashara has done a lot to make it future possibility, and I think that we've got a good deal here. But do you think this will be enough, or do we need more?
Lash says, "I know it can't hurt. Any food is going to be helpful for them. I worry that these weapons won't be enough, but I don't know what else to do." And she looks over at Jad, and because he apparently knows about the E-web, but Lash does not know about the E-web, and says, "Is that blaster gonna even things out for the townsfolk?"
It'll do quite a hurting on them, and we can do quite a bit with these detonators. Maybe set a trap.
I like the idea, and I like our business partner. And I look at the guy across the table and give him a big wink. I feel like we've got a good situation here.
We've got a really good situation. He says, "I can send a crew to install these 10, and maybe if we do another load, I could probably get another 10. I thought you said you need about 20 for the houses that are there, and you think back, and there's 20 houses in the village or the town.
About yeah.
So all the families would have one basically.
Here's my biggest
and a water pump. He says, right? Yeah.
I'm glad our construction expert has this all thought out.
Well, yeah, you talked to him about it, and that's one of the things you guys asked for is how to get water from the flats to their houses, and it's purified and everything. So, and it's discreet.
So I'm gonna use my sense bullshit skill. What is that?
What page is that on?
Yeah.
I think it's
oh shit.
Perception, right? Would be the
I
roll?
believe so.
There's no sense motive, or
I don't think
a
so.
really reduced skill set.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to ferret out whether or not this guy is this guy's being entirely very agreeable. I'm being very agreeable. I feel like our face cards are up here.
Right.
I'm trying to detect if he's playing with some of his face cards down.
What's his name, Kirk?
Haro. Haro.
Haro. All right. So perception, is that what I'm looking at for that?
That is what I'm trying to get here. Hang on just a second.
Or like a persuasion inverted.
I think it just falls to perception. I could be wrong. Let me open up the character sheet.
And if I fail this, I'll be looking at Lashara going, "What do you think?"
Yeah, and Lashara is actually going to try to use some of her newfound skills.
Is it gather information? Let's see.
Gather information. It's the same roll for me either way.
Yeah, it would make sense.
That's one. I did put gather information in the wiki. Let's see real quick. You can take 10, but you can't take 20. learn news and rumors, learn secret information, locate individual, additional applications, analytics, find a good store, identify, quick intel.
And perception? And this is academic. It's the same roll for me either way.
Yeah, let's see real quick. 'Cause other people may want to try it too.
I know it's not jump or initiative.
Yeah. Let's see.
You might look at persuasion and see what the reverse of that is.
Hold on. Perception.
Or deception.
All right. Take 10, to 20, retry. Avoid surprise, eavesdrop, hear distant ambient noises, notice targets. Search, sense deception. You can use perception to see through deceptive appearances. By using the skill, if your perception check meets or exceeds the result of the deception check, you realize you're being deceived.
Okay.
Your perception check to sense the deception is a reaction.
I rolled a 15, and you add 8 to that. That gives you 23.
Yeah. He's a pretty straight up businessman. He wants to make money. He wants to.
His motivations are clear.
Yeah, he wants more clout. He wants more I did that sort of thing.
Well, and it seems like this tour is a rare resource, which is giving him this clout that he's asking for.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He could shut down his Instagram page soon.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
He says you're basically sussing this out through minor conversation, and he gets to the point. He says, "Yeah, I had a so and so was my supplier up until recently, and when he says the name, it rings with you that's who you were originally supposed to sell this to before you took out found the ad that was him asking for it."
Okay.
And he says all of a sudden that guy just doesn't have it anymore. He told me it's just not available.
Mm-hmm.
And so he says, I don't know what else to do. So that's why I put the thing out.
Strange. Lashara, what do you think? Are we square?
So Lashara is going to try to concentrate enough to use the Force to, again, kind of like detect motive here. I got to look how that works too.
I'm wondering if Hakru's going to wolf out and eat Lashara at this point.
It's a use the Force. It's in the wiki as well.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to roll on that.
But he's a Zabrak, not a Shivan Nest dude.
18.
Use the Force.
22? Is that right?
No, I rolled a 14 and add 4, so 18 total.
Trained only. Search your feelings. Search your feelings lets you basically ask if an action will yield favorable or unfavorable results for your immediate actions.
That'll be perfect.
Okay. Sense surroundings is like finding people who are concealed, that sort of thing. So you're sensing whether or not what about him?
If he's lying.
Oh, yeah, no.
Or if he's like being honest about this whole deal.
Yeah.
Basically masking an ulterior motive that might be vile or
right.
evil. Really, he's just a businessman.
Right. And your sense of the Force, you get an image that he doesn't really know why everything is dried up. He doesn't have any idea of what is causing the tour to not be available.
Okay. So he's
wondering about it. He wonders about it, but he's like, it's just not available. I don't know why. That sort
Is that an intelligence check?
For
I'm just gonna.
That would be a gather information check if you're kind of wondering what. Yeah, I just had it up.
Okay, I will roll a gather, but I'm intuitioning that maybe there's another purpose for this tour that I should know about. Like, what other uses does it have? But that would be a gather information. But I don't know if my guy's smart enough to think of that. Right.
Learn secret information basically is what you're looking for.
Okay. Let's gather information then. Or was that perception? Again, it doesn't matter. It's the same roll.
Oh, go ahead and roll. I think it's officially gather information.
I think it's on the level. Whatever it is, everything's good.
Yeah, you've never heard of it being used in anything else, and from what he told you, that just recently he discovered how to merge it with plasticsteel. Like they've just, it was like an accident. Something got dropped into something else, and all of a sudden, it turned luminescent.
Copying this guy's art.
So
Must be it.
Well, Lashara is going to tell Dodd that she believes that he's being sincere, and he just needs the tour to continue building his business.
Yeah, and he offhandedly mentions that there were some rough-looking individuals that came by and were wanting to know how he processed the tour, and they're being pretty not rough. They're being pushy, yeah. Too much. It wasn't like a nice inquiry, peer to peer. It was like they were wanting to figure out how he had done it, and not threatening, but insinuating violence or something bad would happen to his business. And he says that's basically when it kind of shut down after that. He doesn't know who these people are or anything like that.
Do I get the sense that this guy's operation is big enough that he doesn't have to worry about bandits, or?
It depends on how big the bandit group is.
Typical bandits, though. Like we're not talking about, I don't know, like, I can't remember the dude's name. The pirate from the
Clone Wars.
Yeah,
That guy? Yeah, I don't remember his name either.
Cad Bane?
No, Cad Bane was a bounty hunter. There was another guy who, like...
What do you mean, my friend?
What do you mean, my friend? No, we will not be going into it. Like, I'm heavily borrowing from his voice.
Right.
He's awesome. Do you know that the voice actor that does that guy is the voice actor for Winnie the Pooh for the last 30 years?
Hondo.
Yeah.
Anako. Noka. Whatever. Yeah. Hondo.
Yeah,
He's awesome.
From how he describes it, it feels criminal. Like they wanted it to corner the market on him.
Gotcha.
So you keep talking to him about it, and basically it comes out that another group of people showed up and wanted him to pay taxes on his Tor construction sites, and he refused. And he's not sure if that led into the Tor drying up or not. But his business is big enough that he could refuse at this point, unless they decide to do something more nefarious. But he thinks they whoever these people are, they're trying to get his industrial secrets out of him. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for the meal.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
No problem. He says, well, give me a couple hours to try and track down some blasters for you. Oh, and he says, this is yours, and he hands you a cred chip, and he says, just let me know when you want me to send a ship in to install those, the gardens and everything, and we'll do that. You plug the cred chip into your reader, and 16,000 comes up.
Somebody want to keep track of that?
Yeah, I got it.
Half of that's supposed to go toward buying food on the next.
Right.
Back to where you bought the food the first time, basically.
Yeah. I just don't want to write down that money myself because I'll think it's my personal funds. It is not.
I've got it.
So.
Like 3 weeks from now, I'll go, hey guys, I got like 8,000 credits sitting there.
So that 16,000 credits is what is remaining after we make the deal and purchase all these other things that we're getting.
Yeah.
And we need $8,000 to get the foodstuffs or whatever for.
Right. which is more food than what you brought them the first time, basically.
Sweet.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
And that's breaking even with all the gear and
Yeah.
the installation and all that stuff, right? So
Yeah,
you actually on top of all of that still made $8,000.
Yeah.
Which we should probably give a couple grand of that to Nanak.
Yeah, because we haven't bought the ship yet.
Right.
We owe
So-
what, 15K or something for it, something like that.
Yeah. He still owes some money on it.
Yeah. So anyway, just meta, But okay, well, I'm content unless
Okay.
there's something really entertaining going on here. I'm gonna go back to the ship and make sure that the exfiltration of all the tour goes well.
Okay. All right.
And Lashara is going to give like a full regal bow and say thank you or it's a pleasure doing business with you as they leave.
Okay. And he says just
hanging out with Lashara makes me feel like my best efforts at Regal are a fist bump,
And they are.
high five.
They absolutely are. I ruffle my fur at you.
he says just send me a message when you leave again with another supply.
Well, thank you very much.
And he says if you could fill up the ship with every space, that would be very helpful, and we can get some modifications made to your ship.
Yeah, and since we have a direct line between you and I feel like it might be a little safer transaction for you as well.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
not advertise.
Yeah, he says I'm not letting anybody know because I don't know if I'm being watched or not. So, okay.
Okay, well, be safe, be well.
You too. You guys all head back to the ship?
Okay. I don't know. Hakru looks like he's going to say something.
The crew might say something because now that we're actually at a port, the crew would probably want to look around unless while stuff's unloading.
Okay. You
And
guys
I thought I had a few credits left over that were just mine before any of this went down. So I was trying to see how many of those I had, but I'm not seeing them on. I don't see a spot for credits anywhere
It
on.
should
I
be-
see the spot for credits. I don't
Yeah.
think I filled that in.
should be on the
Well, if we
second
give
page.
Nanak $2,000, right? And we put 2 into general supply store money. Each of us could take $1,000 and you could go hog and do whatever it is you want to do. I'm saving up for a droid myself.
Oh, I'm not even going for something like that fancy. There are 2 things that I want to get, and if I've got $1,000, I can get them, provided that Kirk lets me.
Yeah. Depends on
Okay,
if they're
well-
restricted or not.
I mean, I don't speak for the group, so whatever you guys say, that would be my way. The way that I would divide it up: put $2,000 in our general disposable income, give $2,000 to Nanat, and then 1,000 apiece to each of us.
That sounds fine to me.
To everybody,
Yeah.
Jad's like, no, I want 3,000. motherfucker."
And I got an EWEB to back it up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but that shit's broken and we know it.
Yeah, you have to fix
So
it.
I found my previous credits. I just had
Okay.
not moved them to that other sheet because I had 100 left over from character creation, and then when we landed, we each got 1,000 credits for delivering the food.
Yes.
So then, if I get another 1,000 from this as my share in this transaction, that brings me up to 2,100 credits.
Sweet.
Okay.
What should we need for that droid?
Which Hakru would like to use. Yeah, I think he would start off with something small. He would like to use. Where is it?
Dodd, how much money do you have? I didn't have any on your original sheet either.
Oh, I spent it all prior.
All right, so you got
You
1,000.
have 2,000.
Okay.
So neither of these things have restrictions labeled on them, but I imagine that at least one of them probably should have a restriction on it.
Okay.
So the first thing I'm going to buy is a standard targeting scope.
Okay. Yeah.
That's 100 credits.
Yeah, I don't think that has anything on it.
Yeah, literally all it does is when I aim, my range, whatever the range is, decreases. So the short range now becomes point blank, and so on.
Okay.
Does that stack with the
With the feet? Yes, it does.
Oh, cool. So everything becomes point blank after a while.
No, because
no, not
the
through
best
a
you can
scope.
get is your medium range
Yeah.
down to point blank, but you have to aim in order to use it, and you have to have a scope.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'd rather just use the scope instead of the feet, because most things that you get bonuses for, when you fire, stop giving you bonuses after 12 spaces is the most you can max it out to, which is generally the short range as opposed to the point blank range.
Yeah.
So,
Oop, you clipped out there for a second.
I thought maybe he was swearing in the software censoring.
oh yeah. The other thing that Hakru would really like to purchase
Okay.
is a jetpack. It's only 300 credits. It has no restrictions on it. It doesn't have like it's literally just a jetpack. It doesn't have a missile. It doesn't have the flamethrower. It's not Boba Fett's thing. It's just the jetpack.
But how badly do I want to see the scene where Hakru's at the bazaar and sees a jetpack and is like,
Let's see. What page are we on, equipment-wise?
So its description is in the
135.
Yeah. 138 has its description and how it works. 135 has its cost.
Okay.
Sorry about
It's
that.
under survival gear.
Yeah. I don't think any of this stuff, unless it says so. Basic equipment is pretty much what it is.
Yeah. And a jetpack is a propulsion system that a character can strap on, allowing flight over short distances. Arm and wrist controls are employed for maneuvering the vehicle. Activating it is a swift action. You get a fly speed of 6 squares until the end of your turn. A jetpack has 10 charges and can be run continuously as no swift action required to activate the jetpack on subsequent rounds. Routine maneuvers do not require a pilot check, but you must make a DC 20 pilot check if you land moving more than 12 squares during your turn. Basically, so the way I've used this before in other games is it essentially becomes like, okay, swift action to turn it on, and then as long as I'm moving 12 squares or less, it allows me to get into favorable positions. There wasn't anything listed. One guy who was running it developed a house rule for shooting while in flight. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. I don't care. Really, this is just for me to just either bounce out of some place I don't want to be in or get a better sniping position. That's what this thing's for.
Okay. We'll have to look over the pilot skill just to see, because it might have something about that firing while you're doing that, which would probably be a pilot check more than anything.
Yeah, it's probably like a stay in the saddle kind of deal.
Yeah.
But even then, I won't be using it for that right now.
That's fine.
We will have time before it comes up, or at least, God, I hope we have time before it comes up.
So
Yeah.
did we go to like some kind of bazaar or something like that?
Yeah,
Or
there's a
trade-
small market next to the port, and that's where he's heading. If you all want to go with him, you can certainly go with him.
Yeah, and I announce it
Yeah.
oh, if we're going to be here for a few hours while they unload, I'm going to walk around, stretch the legs. As he's like gesturing down towards them, searching for the word.
Yeah, so Lashar says, absolutely. I want to look for a few things myself. So she goes with them, and what she's looking for is any type of resource, whether it be some kind of hollow program or even a book or scroll or like anything that she can find out about the Force. She's intrigued now. And she also wants to buy some clothes because she's just like that.
Okay. What you're probably looking for is a portable computer. Would have a network access with lots of information, things like that. But you could gather information. You're looking for basically data cards with stuff on it.
19.
19. You find information that's been gathered about the last war between the Jedi and the Sith.
Between the Jedi and the Sith. I like this.
Yeah.
I think that's a far more interesting war.
Yeah. It's not going to be about using powers and stuff, but it's got eyewitness accounts and things like that. So there is some eye-opening stuff about what they do and what they have done and how they fight and all that stuff like that. Just from like videos that people have caught or things like that.
Okay.
It's basically a lot of media that's been sort of gathered on a data pad or a data card.
Hakru also in his shopping is going, because you mentioned that the laser web or whatever web,
E-web.
that was going to need a new energy cell, so he's going to add that. And I'm also just going to put just parts.
Okay.
So wires, other little energy cells, batteries that just might be needed to either fix items or improve them. He's going to put that on the list.
Okay. Make a mechanics roll. Since you haven't seen it yet, you don't know exactly what it's all about.
Yeah, I've got no idea what an energy cell is. I just heard that's what I need.
Especially in E-web, like you have no idea.
Yeah.
You're thinking like a battery, and it's like a deep cell cycling battery that are used on submarines, sort of thing.
Okay. Apparently,
Deep cycling.
my non-combat roles are still going great.
Okay.
So let's see, mechanics 26.
Okay. You start to ask someone about
Very scared when combat starts.
and in E-web, and he stops and he says, "Well, if you had one of those dangerous devices, this is what it would require." And he kind of goes over some of the details. So you think you're able to pick up a couple items for about 500 credits.
Okay.
You pick up a various amount of things you think it might need.
Okay.
All right.
I'm just going to pick up a couple energy cells for the bowcaster.
There you go. Anyone else looking for a scope or anything like that? Bandolier? Power packs? Ooh. And Greg, did you go to the bazaar too, or did you go back to the ship?
I went back to the ship.
Make a perception roll.
Kirk, if you're keeping track of this, I bought 3 energy cells.
Okay. I will put that on your character sheet.
13 plus 8, so 21.
21. Let me put his thing on real quick.
And I'll just give you what I bought and the new total of credits that I should have
Okay.
at the end.
Okay.
How much did I spend on that
10 credits.
data? Okay.
Yeah, they're let's say 20. It had information on it. The blank ones are 10 each.
Okay. I am also going to replace my first aid kit that I used on Dodd.
Okay. All right. As Dodd, as you're heading back to the ship, out of the corner of your eye, you see 2 individuals that are kind of keeping track of you. They're watching your ship, and when you're heading for it and basically getting up to it, that's when you kind of catch them out of the corner of your eye. And they've both got a patch on their shoulder that looks like a red star. And it's not like a 5-point, it's like a 12-point or something like that.
Okay.
And they're not being aggressive or anything. They're just kind of watching you get on the ship as the droids are finishing unloading.
But they're definitely wearing some sort of uniform.
They just look like they've got everyday clothes on, but they both have a patch. Like one has it on his vest and one has it on his shoulder.
Okay. I'll do my best to pretend like I don't notice them.
Okay. Deception.
But okay.
Otherwise, you
Hey, what are you guys doing?
pointing at him.
Right. Oof. Roll 6, so 6 plus 8 is 14.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of look over and then look back down at your feet and head back up the ramp.
Okay.
Nanak did not go with you, so you basically come up and he's walking around the ship. He's like, "Everything go okay?"
Yeah, except I think we're being watched.
Huh.
Here's some money. I say.
He can you see him from the cockpit?
I don't know. Let me go over there and check the angle.
Okay. You both walk up to the cockpit and he kind of stands back while you kind of peek out and look. Yeah, you can see him. They're sitting there.
Checking the angle of the dangle.
It's directly proportional to the heat of the beat.
He peeks out and looks at him. He goes, "I'm going to go up to the gunner position and use my scope and see if I can get more details out of him."
Okay. I'm going to check the hold and make sure nobody's messing around with the unloading process.
Okay. Sounds good. You head back to the back, and the droids are locking everything up, basically. They're done. And you do a quick look around. Your bikes are there. Nothing looks like it's been taken out of place. You think the droids would have alerted somebody if somebody was messing around back there.
I pick up my comm link, and I since now I'm enclosed, nobody can see me, and I say, "Hey, Jed, can you hear me?"
Yeah. What's up? I'm
So-
checking out this new weapons store down here.
Well, stock up. I think we might have some interested parties watching the transaction. As I was moving my way back towards the ship, noticed some people wearing street clothes with red stars on a patch on them. It's maybe a gang, but for all I know, it could be the local authorities. I don't know. But keep your eye open and spread the word.
All right, I will do that. And then I'm assuming that Lashara and oh, what crap, Hakru are within earshot or close enough. I can just walk over to him and tell him about that.
Yeah, they're close enough.
All right. And then I think I'm going to tell him I'm going to go try to sneak around and watch these guys while they're watching us.
Watching the detectives.
Okay. So you head off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hakru is also going to go do that.
Okay. Are you guys going to try and circle around?
Yeah, you're
sort
going to go one way, I'll go the other?
Hakru just
Lashara's gonna,
nods.
Lashara's gonna act like nothing's happening. She's gonna be like the person that,
Okay.
stays on.
Hakru is going to give his new bag of parts and the remainder of his credits. He's going to put that in the bag and he's going to hand that to Lashar.
Okay. All right. Nanak comes down from the perch, and he's got the image on his data pad of what their patch is. It's a very detailed starburst almost. And it's red on the inside, kind of got gold on the outside, but not a lot. And he says, "This is their patch."
All right. I don't have any way to send a text with that image on it.
Yeah.
But I tried to describe it to Jad again while I'm doing it, but I keep my voice down just in case he's creeping.
Okay. He says, how long till we can take off?
Don't we have to wait for this guy to give us all of the stuff?
Some blasters, yeah. I think like 3 hours.
3 hours, yeah.
And so it's been about an hour messing around in the bazaar.
This is what we get for trying to have a shopping episode.
Yeah.
Nah.
So roll your stealth for you two guys.
22.
I kind of want to change dice sets because I know this is where it's going to fuck up.
Hey, I'll be back in just a minute, guys.
Okay.
And I don't know if you caught that, Kirk. 22.
Yes.
Not terrible. Let me see what I got. Where's my sheet? There we go. I rolled an 11. My stealth is 20 total. Cool.
There you go. You guys circle around and spot the guys. And Lash comes walking up, and they don't see her. Like, they don't pay attention to her at all. And she walks through and gets on a ramp and goes back up into the ship. They're talking about something. And she literally, like, walks past them, next to them.
This is going to put Hakru a little bit more at ease, but he's still like, he's getting low, flat to the ground, and whatever perch he's got, like he has put the scope. It is in the back of this guy's head.
Okay. There's some crates around. It's pretty much open, though, because it's landing pads for a lot of ships. You think you might be able to sneak past them if they're not paying attention right now, but it's up to you.
On my comm, I'm going to say to Jad, I've got them if you want to get onto the ship and then watch them from the ship, and I will make it to the ship. Oh, I should be saying this in his voice. I will cover you as you move to ship, and then you can cover me, and then we are all safe on ship.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I'll get going. Another stealth?
Yep.
Oh, I run right into them.
Roll. If you want to spend a force point, you can do that.
Yes, I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, went from a 1 to a 27.
Oh, there you go. Now, the force point is just a D6 that you add to your previous result.
Oh, it's just a D6?
But you naturally rolled a 1.
I did natural one, yeah. Natural one.
So you don't
can't
don't
use a
spend
force
it.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You bump one of the guys. Like, you're looking around to see something, and you trip and like to elbow him or shoulder him really good. And the guy goes, "Hey, watch where you're going." And the other guy looks at you too. And the other guy, for a split second, gets that like recognition look on you. The other guy turns back to talk, and the other guy's just standing there like looking at you while the guy's talking to him.
That's it. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Just try to keep on walking, see what happens.
The other guy's talking. He's like, "What are you doing?" Yeah, whatever, man. Whatever. What are you doing? What are you doing? The other guy's just standing there like looking at you as you're walking away.
Does he move
Nope.
towards a blaster,
Nope.
towards a knife?
Nope. And the other guy like leans in and starts whispering to him. The other guy like looks over all of a sudden, and he like does this.
No one grabs a weapon. No one reaches for a weapon.
No.
Does anyone approach the ship?
Just Jad.
Just Jad. Okay, cool. These guys get to keep breathing.
He walks up the entrance ramp.
And then I just before I get to the top, I'll kind of just turn around and pop a squat and watch what's going on while her crew comes.
Okay.
So now Hakru's turn.
Now it's your turn, and they're both actively looking around.
21.
Okay. You get to the ramp, and one guy's looking around the other direction. The other guy just happens to glance over, and he does this, not a double take, but like oh, shit, there's someone else going on board. He doesn't move or do anything, but he kind of nudges the other guy, who's like looking off like, what?
Yeah, it just as soon as Hakru gets to the ramp, he's more or less just like, yes, I'm supposed to be here, and he just walks right. on up and in.
Okay. So everyone's on board now. And you still have about an hour and a half left before you hear anything.
Okay. I'm going to go to work on that e-web.
Okay.
Get it fixed.
All right. There's a couple crates.
Go ahead.
There's a couple crates sitting in the cargo hold. And it looks like the labeling has been painted out or scratched off, one of the two. So it just looks like some crates.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to tell everybody else about how I ran into the guy and that they really didn't care or do anything. It was strange. Not sure why they're watching us.
Well, after you left, the one that recognized you, he told the other one, and he was very upset. Is not the right word, but disappointed that he didn't recognize you. So they're looking for, at very least, specifically you.
Lashara's going to ask for a real good description of the patch, and then she's going to try to tap into their network.
Okay. Nanak gives her a little picture of it.
And she's try to get onto whatever. She's not like slicing or anything. She's just getting on their information network and see if she can find some group that uses that insignia.
Right. And
A
this
Google
is,
image search.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will help you.
And this is a gather information.
Okay.
So if Dodd's gonna help, go ahead and roll Dodd, and we'll see if we get to add a bonus to his roll.
17.
Here we go. I'm like, what's that over there?
It's the night for one.
So nothing.
Can I roll a force point to avoid the botch?
Not if you roll a 1.
Okay.
So it just doesn't do anything. You can't help him out.
She rolled a 17, so
Okay.
that's fairly good.
It's good. You don't come up with anything. There's no known groups that are using this that you could find. And it's a pretty extensive search, but nothing's coming up that you could get a hold of. Maybe if you had other records you could tap into, you might be able to get something, but it seems like it's either restricted or it's just not found.
Okay.
So about an hour goes by, hour and a half. You guys get a communication from Haro. And he comes up on the screen, the hologram, and says, I found a case of blasters. It's nothing fancy, but I can have them sent down to you guys. They're in a case, so no one will really know what they are.
Sounds perfect. Thank you.
Let's see. These are
Like BL-47.
blaster pistols, blaster pistols, basically.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
The situation they have can only be improved upon.
Right.
So, anything else you guys want to? Oh, he's still hologramming there. Do you guys want to say anything or ask him anything?
No, well, I would. By the way, between us kids, who are the guys with the red star patches?
Red Star. Red Star. That sounds familiar. Why is that? Oh, he says those were the goons that came around and were making the vague threats. They had a couple that symbol on them.
Well, they were following us around, looking real interested in what we were doing. So be careful if I were you.
I will keep an eye out for them from now on. He says, come to think of it, the guy who wanted the processing recipe, he had a tie tack on that had that same symbol on it. Huh. Okay.
Possibly a competitor. That's kind of meta. I'm not sitting there.
He said the goons had it on him, and the dressed up type had it on him too. So maybe they're all
Some
working
sort of
together.
organization. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll keep an eye out for him. We'll send it down. It'll be down in just a couple minutes. I'll send the protocol droid with it.
Okay.
Okay.
Be careful, Haro.
All right, I will. Let me know when you're ready to bring some more Tor out, and or when you want us to install those hydroponic things.
Sounds good.
All right, Haro out. A couple minutes go by, and you see a protocol droid with a good-sized case walking toward your ship. And the two guys, one of the guys is watching it real close. The other guy's like looking off, watching somebody else or another landing pad or something. And it comes up and walks up the ramp. And he says, "These are from Haro." He
My thanks.
sets them down, and he turns and walks down the ramp.
Do my best to regal deep bow.
Okay. Okay. Nanak says, "We ready to go?"
Let's check the supplies. We got a new web blaster.
Hakru has been working on the E-Web blaster.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
We've got thermal detonators. We've got a crate full of blasters. I flip open the latch and look in. How many are in there?
There are 25 blasters.
Cool. Perfect.
Is that along with
Okay.
the 10 we had gotten earlier? Is that a total?
It was 25 blasters and 6
Thermal detonators.
thermal detonators
Okay.
and an E-Web.
Cool.
yeah, it's enough to defend a small fort,
Yeah.
Yeah, really is.
which is the goal here.
Right. Well, I guess we'll wait until we take off. Nanat, I think we're good to go.
All right. He sits down in the cockpit, starts flipping switches. The ramp raises up. The ship
The
slowly
crew is back.
lifts up and takes off into the sky. Anybody else in the cockpit?
I guess I'll be there for now.
Make
No.
a
Hakru probably. Yeah, no, I'm working on the E-Web.
make a perception roll if you're up there.
12.
12 altogether with your
Yep.
skill check. Okay.
It's not a magical dice rolling day for Greg.
Yeah, you don't see anything. The ship takes off and heads off into space. You see the planet kind of shrinking back in the background as the ship's flying off. And he says, "I've got the coordinates for the food supplier. It's our next stop, right?"
Yeah.
Okay. And he plugs them in and pulls back a shift and takes off into hyperspace. So, do we want to continue or do we want to call it a night for here?
I've got to go back to work as usual. So
Yeah, I better call it a night. I gotta get up at 6.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks for watching another episode of Gaming Without Gaming, Birth of the Republic, and
I love that game.
we'll see you guys next time.
see ya.
All right,
Bye, everybody.
see ya.
Hanging out on the line.
This has been a production of Gaming Without Gaming, all rights reserved. Visit us at gamingwithoutgaming.com. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/gamingwithoutgaming. Title music is by Greg Braun. Find him on soundcloud.com/Clara7. That's KLARA-7. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Gaming Without Gaming logo music is by Kevin MacLeod.